On a quiet Wednesday afternoon, November 26, 2025, the skyline of Hong Kong's Tai Po district suddenly transformed from calm to catastrophe. Dense smoke and violent flames erupted from Wang Fuk Court residential complex at 3 p.m. What began as a small ignition quickly escalated into an uncontrollable blaze, racing upward along bamboo scaffolding that wrapped 8 high-rise towers undergoing renovation. Each building stood 32 stories tall, housing nearly 2,000 apartments where approximately 4,000 residents lived their daily lives, completely unaware of the nightmare about to unfold. When the first fire crews arrived, flames had already consumed large sections of the scaffolding and were punching through windows into apartments on multiple floors. Many residents were elderly or had limited mobility, making evacuation extremely difficult. Panic spread as families tried to escape through smoke-filled corridors. Others were trapped on upper floors. Eyewitnesses described hearing desperate cries for help from windows and balconies as the fire intensified. Reports emerged that fire alarms inside the blocks failed to activate in time. Several residents reported being warned only by neighbors, shouting, or security guards running floor to floor. These lost precious minutes allowed the fire to intensify and evacuations to become more chaotic. A distraught 71-year-old man was seen crying in the street, his face streaked with tears and ash, claiming his wife was still trapped inside one of the burning towers. He couldn't reach her. Nobody could. Many others waited just like him, helplessly, desperately, outside, unaware whether their loved ones had escaped or were still trapped inside those burning buildings. Authorities escalated the incident to Level 5, Hong Kong's highest fire alarm classification. Over 128 fire engines, 57 ambulances, and 767 firefighters were dispatched. Intense heat forced firefighters to constantly retreat. Ladder platforms struggled to reach upper floors. Bamboo scaffolding collapsed in sections, scattering flaming debris onto nearby roads and creating additional hazards for rescue teams. By early evening, at least 55 people were confirmed dead. Among them was 37-year-old firefighter Ho, stationed at Sha Tin Fire Station, who died attempting to rescue trapped residents. Fire Chief Andy Young confirmed that Ho had entered the burning building knowing the extreme risks. Dozens more suffered serious burns, smoke inhalation, or trauma. Approximately 1,000 people were evacuated to temporary shelters, but 280 people remain missing. Many almost certainly dead, their remains still trapped inside or burned beyond recognition. Surrounding streets filled with people carrying small bags of belongings, blankets, or nothing at all. Some were openly crying. Others stared in shock at the burning towers that had been their homes just hours earlier. Traffic came to a standstill as main roads were closed. Emergency vehicles filled the streets. Crowds gathered on pedestrian bridges, watching flames consume apartments and smoke rise into the evening sky. burning fragments falling from upper floors started small fires on the ground that crews had to quickly extinguish. Police established wide safety perimeters to prevent passers-by from approaching unstable buildings. Initial indications suggest bamboo scaffolding played a critical role in the fire's rapid spread. Dr. Xinyan Huang, associate professor at Hong Kong Polytechnic University's Department of Building Environment and Energy Engineering, explained, "Bamboo is definitely a flammable material. This is a very dry season in Hong Kong, so the likelihood of ignition of this bamboo is very high. Once it's ignited, the fire spread will be super fast. The bamboo poles are also vertically oriented, so the fire is basically spreading up without any resistance." A video that went viral after the disaster showed construction workers casually smoking cigarettes while working on exterior renovation, surrounded by bamboo scaffolding and flammable netting. While this video was not taken at Wang Fuk Court on the day of the fire, it revealed a widespread safety culture problem in Hong Kong's construction industry. The fire started at 2:51 p.m., during working hours when workers would have been on site. Investigators are examining whether careless smoking near dried bamboo and flammable materials during a red fire danger warning may have contributed to the ignition. But here's what investigators discovered that makes this disaster even more disturbing. The green safety netting covering the scaffolding was not fire retardant as required by Hong Kong building codes. It was cheap, flammable plastic that accelerated the fire instead of resisting it. Authorities stated that protective nets, tarps, and plastic coverings found in the apartments also failed to meet safety standards. Police found that contractor workers had covered elevator lobby windows on every floor with flammable polystyrene foam boards. Fire Chief Jung called the presence of these boards unusual and a clear safety violation. The construction company's name was written directly on the foam boards. When flames reached them, they melted while burning, releasing toxic fumes. Senior Police Superintendent Eileen Chung stated, "Everyone knows this material is flammable and has the potential to accelerate fire spread. We believe the contractor engaged in gross negligence that directly led to this disaster." Three men, aged 52 to 68, have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter by gross negligence. They include 2 company directors and 1 consultant from the construction firm responsible for the $330 million renovation project. Hong Kong's Independent Commission Against Corruption has launched an investigation into possible bribery and falsified material certifications.
哇！慘喎，真係燒入屋喎，燒晒入屋喎，啲窗入邊，唉慘啊！金寶後邊有個阿叔喺度，有個住戶嚟嘅喺度揾緊老婆，哎呀真係慘啊呢下！
原來一直聽到嗰啲啪啪聲就係冧緊呢啲嘢。
Following the disaster, Hong Kong leader John Lee told reporters that the government would inspect all bamboo scaffolding across the city, and that officials were meeting to discuss transitioning to metal scaffolding. On March 17, 2025, Lee announced that bamboo scaffolding would be phased out for all public construction projects. At community centers, volunteers prepared water, hot meals, and blankets for displaced families. Relief organizations began setting up helplines and temporary support services for those who lost their homes. Many residents expressed fear and uncertainty about the future. Some wondered where they would sleep the next night, whether they could recover their belongings, or what would happen to relatives still missing. The psychological impact was profound as neighbors comforted each other and shared escape stories. Fire crews continued operations late into the night, extinguishing hotspots, searching damaged floors, and assessing structural risks. This fire is Hong Kong's deadliest disaster since the Canton Road wood building fire in 1957, 68 years ago. Hong Kong now faces a moment of reckoning. A city known for its soaring skyline and dense settlements must confront urgent questions about construction standards and emergency preparedness. As smoke slowly clears from the Tai Po district, the true cost of the catastrophe becomes painfully visible. Lives lost, families displaced, buildings rendered completely uninhabitable. The community enters a long process of recovery, hoping such a tragedy will never happen again. But one question haunts everyone. Could this have been prevented? The answer is yes. If fire-retardant netting had been used as required by law, if foam boards had never been installed, if building inspectors had actually inspected, if contractors had prioritized safety over profit. 55 people are dead because someone chose cheap materials over safe materials. 280 are missing because corners were cut. A community is shattered because the system designed to protect them failed.